greatest horror trilogy of all time. That's the conclusion I settled on when I recently finished The Angel of Indian Lake from Stephen Graham Jones, the final installment in the Lake Witch trilogy. It was so incredibly bittersweet getting to read another book narrated by Jade Daniels, the greatest final girl of all time. The sweet being, of course, that it is told from her perspective, which I could spend books and books and books with this character. The bitter, obviously, being that this is the concluding book. And this one picks up another 4 years after book 2 in the trilogy, Don't Fear the Reaper. I know that some people say time jumps like that are a convenient excuse for authors to do a lot of off-the-page or off-screen character development, but I think when it comes to the events of horror novels specifically, especially this trilogy, that gives the character a nice bit of breathing room considering the amount of trauma that they go through. So we pick up 4 years down the line in Proof Rock, Idaho, and in those 4 years, Jade's reputation, everything around Indian Lake has changed dramatically, and there's a lot of unfinished business in Proof Rock. From the rich trying to buy Western authenticity to serial killer cultists. There's one aspect of the savage history of Proof Rock, Idaho, no one's got the mettle to confront. No one except our final girl, Jade, making her last stand. And I love where we find Jade as this book picks up with The Angel of Indian Lake. 4 years down the line, she's taken up the mantle of her favorite history teacher, Mr. Holmes. She becomes that history teacher, that guiding light that she always admired. It's just so fun to imagine having a high school history teacher who is also like the most knowledgeable person on the slasher genre ever, as one would expect if they have read My Heart is a Chainsaw or Don't Fear the Reaper. Proof Rock, Idaho begins its cycle again, right conveniently when Halloween comes around. But it's much more than just a slasher that seems to repeat every time Jade is back in town and getting settled. If you didn't get some of the very overt messaging and themes in the previous 2 books, then I don't think they can go over your head in Angel of Indian Lake, and they are extremely powerful and moving. Jones crafted this epic horror trilogy of generational trauma and stolen hope. This trilogy is the story of the American West written in blood. In Jade's story, in that greater scope, is the girl who doesn't know how to give up. And again, there's a reason why I love this trilogy so much. This 3rd installment is equal parts slasher, equal parts pedal to the metal action movie, ode to the horror genre, tear jerker, emotional roller coaster. If you're not a frequent flyer on the slasher airliner, sure, a lot of this is going to go over your head if it didn't already in books 1 and 2. I feel like a lot of Jade's inner monologue, the way she rationalizes the events going on around her, are filtered through that sort of historical knowledge of the slasher genre. I have fun on every single page of this, so if you're a fan of the slasher genre of horror in general, you need a beyond solid trilogy with one of the best slasher characters, best final girls I've ever come across. You need to read this.